to go, so it's not over by far.
There's only time for two laps on this track, isn't it?
Yep.
Less than 2 laps. So they've got this lap now, Johnny, and one more lap to go. The pressure is on.
Yeah, absolutely. And it all depends where you go across that line, at what time you go across that line, if you do get that second lap. So it's quite a difficult thing for the driver to do, because obviously when he goes out, he's on track. So it's down to sometimes the team working it out to get that, utilise that time.
That's exactly right. The key is to try and get your car to be the last across the start finish line before the checkered flag comes out. There's more rubber laid down than for anybody else, and you've got the final opportunity to set that fast time. We see it in Formula 1 in qualifying, always that battle to be last on the track. Darren Turner in car number 7, the Aston Martin, he has been very late to go out. He's the last car out on the track. He is going to go for a one-lap flyer, isn't he? He's going to have one warm-up lap and then one lap only to set a qualifying time.
That's a typical inexperienced driver thinking how to utilise everything, and that's exactly what he's doing.
That's Jamie Campbell-Walter in the middle of the screen. There's that very nice little smile, and he did a magnificent job in the first group, and Darren Turner is really on it. He goes purple in Sector 1.
Yeah, and Darren obviously has done so much with Aston Martins over the year. Obviously a win, 2 wins I think at Le Mans. Second sector there, a 1:01. I'm not quite sure if that's his best sector. I don't think it's the overall best sector.
It's his first lap,
yeah.
But it's certainly a pretty quick middle sector. And here he comes now through the final couple of corners, through Woodcote to complete the lap. Is actually the Nissan, and right behind him is the Aston Martin. Darren Turner goes second fastest, car number 7. The Aston Martin second fastest, 1:59.5. So it's still Fred Makowiecki in the other Aston Martin, the Hexis AMR team, who is quickest in car number 9 with a 1:59.2. Darren Turner for the young driver AMR team, second of the Aston Martins at 59.5. Third quickest, Andrea Bertolini for Maserati, a 1:59.7.
Yeah, and we've only got 1 minute to go. So this is where everybody, they're going to be wringing as much as they can out of the neck of those two. We see Andrea there, a little bit of he's fighting this car. Doesn't seem very good there at all. This doesn't seem to be a very, let's say, neat lap. No, it's sector 2. It's very slow. So he's going to try, and how long we got? He might, yes, he's going to do. This will be his last lap. I don't think he entered from Luffield very well, but this is his last opportunity.
Even with that car sliding around, the lap was a 1:59.8, so only a tenth of a second slower than his previous best time. So it was a pretty good lap there for Andrea Bertolini. If you can put a tidy lap together, generally speaking, if you're on board these cars and watching, if the cars are going sideways, they're not going as fast as they should be.
No, absolutely not. And then Andrea, as we said, Andrea has been very experienced in these cars. Darren Turner, as we look at the screen, once again, the first split, fastest of everybody, so he's really on it. We've got him now.
He's following
in the background.
Yeah, we've got Michael Krum here in the foreground in the Nissan, and looming in his mirrors, the Aston Martin of Darren Turner. There is the second sector time for Michael Krum. It's a good one, 1:01.1, but 4/10 quicker in his mirrors on that sector is Darren Turner. They're coming now out of Luffield to complete their lap. The checkered flag is out. Across the line goes the Nissan, and it is an improvement, second fastest for Michael Krum, but there goes Darren Turner, a 1:58.8, the pole position perhaps for car number 7 and Aston Martin.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I think Darren is one of those drivers, very very unlucky. He's only got to do the GT racing. I think he was definitely a driver that probably had a good chance to get into Formula 1. Never did, but he's utilising in the career he's got in GT1 racing.
You're right. Former winner of the McLaren Autosport BRDC Award, which is often a stepping stone to greatness. And yes, Darren Turner didn't make it to greatness in Formula 1 like someone like you, Johnny Herbert, but he's made his career in GT cars and sport cars, and he's from Banbury in Oxfordshire, just 20 minutes away from here at Silverstone. So that's a major thrill for Darren Turner, and a magnificent effort for that young driver AMR team.
Yeah, well, I think that's it, I would say. I think it's going to be interesting now, because obviously pole position for Darren Turner, I think it's a very important one for Aston Martin. They didn't have a very good Abu Dhabi race. this is a very good way of coming back.
He completed only 3 laps in this final session, fewer than anybody else. Everybody else did either 4 or 5 laps, but Darren Turner made those 3 laps count, and it will be him and Aston Martin that will start on the pole for today's qualifying race. And here is the rundown there. Aston Martin out the front with Darren Turner, 158.8. Aston Martin second, Nissan third, Maserati, Nissan, Aston Martin in 6th place. It was Freddie Makowiecki who was second fastest for Aston Martin. Michael Krum for Nissan in 3rd. The Maserati in 4th place. Andrea Bertolini, the former factory driver. Warren Hughes, an excellent effort again for Nissan. So 2 Nissans in the top 5. Jonathan Hirschi for Aston Martin 6th, and the 2 Lamborghinis of Joss Menton and Peter Cox will round out the top 8, the front 4 rows of the grid for what is going to be a thrilling race this afternoon. And it's going to stand by. We're going to get down to have a word with Thomas Enger, who will share that number 7 car.